WKMG.com with Justin Warmoth.
Good morning, I'm Justin Warmoth. To say last year was a strong year for the housing market would be an understatement. But will that trend continue in 2020? Well, if January was any indication, the answer is yes. The median list price of homes in the Orlando area was $277,000, a 7.1% jump year over year. But with mortgage rates staying historically low, the supply is not keeping up with the demand, and finding that perfect house is not only challenging, but it's hyper competitive. This morning, Orlando Regional Realtor Association President Reese Stewart is here with this year's Housing Outlook. All right, Reese, thank you so much for joining us this morning here on the Weekly. Housing is something that a lot of people are interested in, and they may not be able to find something based on their price point. It is a weird market. It's a good market. What are you forecasting for 2020?
Well, Justin, the same thing that we're seeing in 2019, we're seeing the same thing that's going to happen in 2020. That's what we're predicting. Maybe the median price point might go up 3 to 5%, the equity in the home 3 to 5%. But right now we're just seeing it staying right on track as 2019.
Interesting. I was reading something when it comes to millennials, and everyone likes to say millennials prefer renting over buying, everything like that. But it looked like millennials would be driving and fueling the housing market in 2020. That was the prediction going forward. Do you see that happening?
Well, you said a couple of things there. You said renting and buying. Well, if you notice the rental market, some of the rental market, especially on a 2-2 apartment, that's $1,200 plus on the rental payment. That's a mortgage payment to some people. So, everything's unpredictable. You can only predict. But the rental market and the housing market is you said it, we're in a robust market now. We're tight inventory. So it basically goes down to the person. What's their lifestyle? Do they want to rent? Do they want to own a home? But no matter what you decide, make sure you get out and do your homework.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what's fueling that want and that need to own a home more than ever for these millennials and for people who just haven't bought a home in the first place is that mortgage rates are so low. They were at 3.5-ish in 2019, right. Yet the inventory, as you mentioned, is low as well, and that's what's fueling the price.
It is.
Right?
It is.
Explain this dynamic here. Supply and demand, right?
So we are an all-time low on mortgage rates, below 4%. Right now they're hovering around the 3.5, 3.7 mark, you're right. But that just goes into somebody that's, looking at their budget, looking at the mortgage payment. That does definitely help them on their mortgage payment. A half a point or half a percentage up in a mortgage rate is going to take down the buying power of the house because now they have to put that much more in a mortgage rate.
Now, do you think that someone who has an interest in buying a home or they're renting right now and they say, okay, listen, I'm paying, let's just use $1,200 like you used. I'm using that for rent, but I can find a house and that could be my mortgage payment. Is it apples to oranges on that? Or can you use that as a factor to buy a home?
Well, as far as the mortgage rate, you're buying your own home. So what's real estate? You're seeing it. Price of real estate goes up. If you own the home, the price of your home's going up. You're building wealth by being in a home. And once again, it depends on the person themselves, what their lifestyle is, how long they're planning on being in the house. So they have to do their due diligence and find out, am I here just for a year or so, then I'm going to move somewhere, or am I here for a while? Should I put in wealth building and buying a property?
It's pretty remarkable where we've come in the last 8 to 10 years, right? How has your job changed in that time? And what is it like to be a realtor in 2020 with this housing market as it is right now?
Well, the 8 to 10 years, we've actually been in the seller's market for the past 11 years. So it's been a tight market, supply and demand. As far as being a realtor, it's like a home buyer. Tell them, hey, look, the market's tight. If we find a house that you like, you might want to move on it right then and there, because if you say, for instance, I want to sleep on it, well, keep in mind, somebody said that yesterday. So after you sleep on it and you decide you want to, it might be gone the next day.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well, is that when you find something, because there are so few that fit someone's specific needs out there, you need to act, and you need to have all your finances in place. When you go through the process, what is step one? If someone's unfamiliar, what would you tell them, step one, when you're looking into buying a home? It's not finding the home per se, right?
The first step is consult a realtor. That's the first step. Sit down with that realtor, tell that realtor what they're looking for, let that realtor help them design the steps they need to take, what type of house they're looking for, getting them pre-approved for a mortgage, find out how much house they can buy. That's the first step that someone should always do, consult a realtor.
So many people like to go on the websites, the apps, Zillow, Realtor.com. That's good, right? It's good to do your homework maybe, but what would you tell the people who rely solely on Zillow and Realtor.com and sites like that?
Well, if it's something, it's a business model. If that's something they're comfortable with, by all means, do what you feel comfortable with. If you think you can go that route, I would say that's what you do. Check it out, get your do your due diligence. Know what the process is, because buying and purchasing a property or selling a property, it has a process, your contracts, legal binding contracts, contingencies that you have to make sure that you're meeting, and stuff like that. So that's a big thing.
What is the biggest contributing factor for the low supply of homes in that 300 price range, single family homes? What would you say would be the biggest contributing factor?
Low inventory. Low inventory, the amount of buyers we have, the tight market we're in, that's the biggest, back to supply and demand. If you've got more buyers than you have on the market, that's what keeps the pricing where it is. A couple of things is home affordability, which you talked about just now. We are working with government officials, private entity groups and stuff for fully funding of the Sadowski Housing Trust Funds. So that's some things that could help first-time buyers get into homes, help them with down payment assistance if the trust funds are fully funded.
So, yeah, I do want to talk about affordable housing and housing affordability and the differences. There is a difference to this. Explain it for me.
Well, housing affordability depends on the person. Affordability, if someone's, for instance, is taking more than 30% of their pay to live on, that's affordability issue. Housing affordability basically goes down to what the pricing and affordability is two different things when you price a property.
Yeah, and that's what. It's so important. People think affordable housing, and it's like, well, yeah, okay, so you can't afford that home that, so many people want to afford, that nice home down the street with the white picket fence. That's not what it is. No. It's for these families who simply live paycheck to paycheck and cannot afford the rising rent prices or rising housing prices.
And for that person, that for instance, if you say, I need you to go down and get $300, right away, well, there's affordability right there, because a lot of people, like you said, paycheck to paycheck. They don't have the means to go get extra money. They're living paycheck to paycheck.
So here in Central Florida and the Orlando region, really in general, 1,500 people will be moving here. Let me get this right. We'll be moving to the region every week for the next 11 years. What does this look like going forward? Because if we already have an affordable housing problem, is this going to keep getting worse?
Well, once again, that's where the Orlando Regional Realtor Association is working closely with government official, private entity to address this issue. We do have 1,500 right now. The number is 1,500 moving into the area every week. And we are in a robust real estate market, which you said at the beginning of the broadcast. But we are working to try to curtail and help alleviate some of that pain.
And again, 1,500 people will be moving to the Orlando region every week for the next 11 years. News 6 has a special section of our website dedicated to the population boom. Just head to clickorlando.com.